know why nobody celebrates Halloween in Africa? Because over there, witchcraft stories aren't costumes. They're real. And what I'm about to tell you today will freeze your blood. Bafang Village, Cameroon, 1998. Teres is 12 years old and has been sleeping in the same room as her grandmother for years. A sweet old woman who makes the best donuts in the neighborhood and tells stories at night. But one night, Teres wakes up around 3 a.m. Her grandmother's bed is empty. Again. That's the 5th time this month. She decides to follow her discreetly. Her grandmother crosses the yard, barefoot, and enters a small abandoned hut behind the house. Teres approaches, looks through a crack in the wall, and what she sees paralyzes her. Her grandmother is naked, her body covered with a reddish ointment that shines in the candlelight. She murmurs incantations in a language Teres doesn't recognize. Then, before the little girl's horrified eyes, the old woman's body begins to transform. Her arms become wings, her face elongates, her eyes turn yellow. Within seconds, she's no longer human. She has become a massive black owl. The bird flies out through the thatched roof and disappears into the night. Teres remains frozen, unable to move, her heart pounding to explode. She returns to bed, trembling. In the morning, her grandmother is there, smiling, preparing her breakfast as if nothing happened. Teres tells no one, out of fear, out of shame. For weeks, she pretends. But every night, she stays awake, watching her grandmother's bed. And every night, around 3 a.m., the old woman gets up and disappears. Then one day, tragedy strikes. The neighbor's daughter, a perfectly healthy 6-year-old child, suddenly falls ill. Unexplained fever, rapid weight loss, nighttime delusions where she screams that someone is eating her liver. Within 3 weeks, she dies. The village is in shock. The devastated parents call a marabout to understand. The marabout arrives, performs his rituals, enters a trance. And in front of the entire gathered family, he points his finger at Teres's grandmother. It's her. She's part of a circle of witches who feed on children's life essence. They fly at night in the form of birds and attack the weakest. The entire village turns against her. Under pressure, facing the accusations, the grandmother finally confesses. She cries, says she was initiated young by her own mother, that it's a family tradition she can't break, that the circle would punish her if she stopped. She admits to participating in the child's death, along with 4 other women from the village. Teres will never sleep normally again. She'll leave this village at 18, never to return. Today, she lives in France, but she still refuses to sleep in the dark. And when asked why she never celebrates Halloween, she simply responds, "Because I've already seen the true face of evil, and it's not a costume." In Africa, witchcraft isn't a myth. It's a daily reality for millions of people. Entire families are torn apart by these accusations. Children are abandoned, tortured, killed because they're thought to be possessed. Elderly women are burned alive in certain villages. And the worst part, nobody really talks about it. Because over there, silence protects. But it also imprisons. So next time you put on your Halloween mask to go trick-or-treating, remember that thousands of miles away, people live in real terror of these invisible forces, and for them, the night is never safe. The child who saw spirits. Why doesn't Halloween exist in Africa? Because over there, they don't need a special day to be afraid. Fear lives with you every day, and this story will prove to you why. Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, 2003. A 7-year-old boy named Jonathan suddenly becomes strange. He refuses to eat, spends his days staring into space, and especially, he talks to people no one else can see. His parents first think of a classic imaginary friend, but things get worse. Jonathan begins describing events he never experienced. He recounts how his uncle died 3 years earlier, with precise details that only the adults present that day knew. He describes the house of his deceased great-grandparents, which he's never visited, with disturbing accuracy. He talks about money hidden in walls that no one has touched for decades. His mother starts to panic. She takes him to see a pastor. The pastor prays over him, sprinkles him with consecrated oil, organizes deliverance sessions. Nothing works. Jonathan continues to see the others, as he calls them. He says they're everywhere, watching, waiting. He draws their faces, distorted faces, with empty eyes, twisted mouths. Then one evening, Jonathan wakes up screaming. He says they want to take him with them, that they need a pure child to complete their circle. His mother, terrified, decides to consult an Nganga, a traditional healer renowned in the region. The Nganga examines the child. He burns herbs, throws cowrie shells, communicates with the spirits. His verdict falls like a guillotine. Jonathan is a witch child. He naturally possesses the ability to see and communicate with the spiritual world. But this ability attracts evil spirits like flies to honey, and if nothing is done, they will completely possess him or take him to their world. The problem? In Congolese culture, being a witch child is a condemnation. Thousands of children are abandoned, chased from their families, tortured in churches that claim to deliver them through extreme fasting, beatings, public humiliation. Some die, others end up on the streets, rejected by all. Jonathan's mother refuses this fate for her son. She decides to follow the ritual proposed by the Nganga, a dangerous ritual that consists of closing the child's third eye. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonathan is isolated in a ritual hut. He cannot eat, drink, or see daylight. The Nganga performs continuous incantations, sacrifices animals, coats the child with blood and sacred herbs. Jonathan screams for those 3 days. He begs to be let out. He says the spirits are angry, that they're punishing him, that they're tearing his soul apart. His screams are so terrifying that neighbors threaten to call the police. But the mother holds firm. She knows it's the only solution. On the 3rd day, silence. Jonathan stops screaming. The Nganga emerges from the hut, exhausted, and announces it's over. When they bring the child out, he's transformed. His eyes, once lively and expressive, are now extinguished. He barely speaks anymore. He never smiles. But he no longer sees the spirits. Today, Jonathan is 28 years old. He lives a normal life, has a job, a family, but those who know him well say there's something absent in him, as if part of his soul remained in that ritual hut. He doesn't celebrate Halloween. He doesn't like costumes, masks, ghost stories, because for him all that isn't fiction. In Africa, thousands of children live this nightmare every year, accused of witchcraft, rejected, tortured, killed. UNICEF estimates that in Congo alone, more than 50,000 children live on the streets after being banished as witches. Halloween? It's a game for Westerners who have forgotten what it really means to be afraid of the supernatural. Want to know why Halloween doesn't exist in Africa? Because over there, witchcraft isn't folklore. It's a business, and what I'm about to reveal will change your perception of everything. Cotonou, Benin, 2015. There's a place that all locals know, but nobody talks about openly. The Akodessewa Fetish Market. It's the largest witchcraft market in West Africa. There you can buy everything you need to cast a spell, protect yourself, attack an enemy, or even kill someone from a distance. Sophie, a French journalist of Beninese origin, decides to do a report there. She goes accompanied by a local guide. From the entrance, the smell hits her. A mixture of rotting flesh, dried herbs, and animal blood. On the stalls, monkey heads, mummified crocodiles, human skulls, decomposing organs, powders of all colors. An old merchant calls out to her. He asks what she's looking for. Protection? Love? Money? Revenge, for every need, he has a solution. He shows her a small leather bag containing animal claws, crushed bones, and herbs. This is to financially ruin someone. You put their name on paper, burn the bag in front of their house at night, and in less than 3 months, they lose everything. Sophie, skeptical but fascinated, continues her exploration. She meets another seller who offers her something darker, a ritual to bind someone's spirit. Basically, make them dependent on you, unable to make decisions without your approval. The price? The equivalent of 200 euros plus a sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice? Sophie asks. The man smiles. It depends on the person you want to bind. For a spouse, a white chicken is enough. For a powerful man, it takes more. Much more. Sophie doesn't ask for details. She understands very well what he's implying. Then she meets Mama Adjo, an old woman renowned for her power. Mama Adjo doesn't sell at a stall. She receives people in a small house behind the market. Sophie consults her, still for her report. Mama Adjo looks at her for a long time, then tells her, "You didn't come to buy. You came to understand, but be careful. Some things should not be understood." She then tells her a true story. In 2008, a Nigerian businessman comes to see her. He wants to eliminate his partner who betrayed him, not kill him physically, nor destroy him spiritually. Mama Adjo accepts. For a colossal sum, she performs the ritual. 3 weeks later, the partner begins to go mad. He sees things, hears voices, can't sleep anymore. Within 2 months, he throws himself off a building. The businessman returns to thank Mama Adjo. She tells him, "I gave you what you wanted, but now you're bound to him for eternity. Every misfortune that happens to him in the afterlife will touch you too. You bought your revenge, but you sold your eternal rest." The man laughs. He doesn't really believe it. But 6 months later, he falls ill, fulminant cancer. He dies in 3 months, in terrible suffering, screaming that he sees his partner coming to get him every night. Sophie finishes her report deeply troubled. She who didn't really believe in witchcraft finds herself doubting everything. The testimonies she collects are too numerous, too consistent, too precise to be coincidences. Today, she refuses to publish her report. She simply says, "Some things should not be exposed to light. The Akodessewa Market exists because people believe in it. And as long as they believe, it works. That's the real power of witchcraft. Collective conviction. In Africa, millions of people consult fetish priests every year. To protect themselves, to attack, to succeed. It's an underground industry worth billions. Halloween? It's child's play compared to that. Because over there, black magic isn't a costume you take off at midnight. It's a reality you carry all your life. Now you understand why Halloween doesn't belong in Africa. Because here, fear doesn't need a costume. It breathes, it hunts, and it never sleeps. Witches that fly at night, children who see the dead, markets where magic is sold like bread. These aren't stories to entertain, they're warnings. So next time you light a pumpkin, remember, somewhere, someone lights a candle. Not for decoration, but for protection. If you want more true African horror stories the world has never heard, follow this page and tell me in the comments, would you survive a night in Africa when the spirits come out to play?